hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Welsh B Show. And joining me today to talk about Wrexham AFC is the former Matchday DJ at the Racecourse, Andy Hooson. Andy, thank you for joining me.
No problem.
How long were you at the Racecourse for? As a DJ?
I was there around 15 years. I started under Steve Jones, the former PA announcer, in around 2010. Couldn't tell you which game it was. But yeah, it was in around 2010. As the sort of think it was as the trust were just sort of taking over. The supporters trust were just taking over at that time. I seem to remember hearing all the stories going around the ground of everyone coming in and putting their piggy banks in and all the savings and whatnot, and young kids coming and putting their pocket money in to try and save the club and get us out of trouble. So yeah, that's how long I sort of was involved, and then that came to an end at the start of this season. Yeah, it's been an interesting time throughout. So,
what were the reasons? Why were you? Why did you finish? Did they let you go?
Yeah, it was actually. It was 24 hours before the first home game, which was the Carabao Cup game. At home. I got a phone call 24 hours prior to the game, just stating that, they wanted to move in a different direction and they no longer required a matchday DJ. So by this time, there was myself and my brother John. He used to come and help out where he could. And yeah, so it was just... we want to move in a different direction. So the guys who look after the PA system and they do all the install and everything else, the techs, they're now gonna do the music as well. So fair play. But he said you can come in tomorrow on your staff pass, and after that there'll be a season ticket for you. And then hopefully you can come to every game, and that'll be that, and you have the opportunity to renew it then next year. So, no sort of axes to grind with anybody at the club. It was just moving with the times, I think they call it. Whether we agree or not I think it's gone a bit backwards. But these guys are not music people. They're engineers. They're techs. But that's where the club wanted to go, and so that's what we've had to sort of sit back and swallow that. But I mean, we, like I say, getting to go to the games and still support the club is brilliant, because as everybody knows, tickets are like rocking horse manure at the moment. So yeah, it's we were quite fortunate. So yeah.
So as a leaving gift, a thank you, if you like, was a season ticket, which you'll obviously keep as long as you would like to have it and renew it every year.
Yeah. So obviously it'll be next year's will be at the cost of, but I mean it's give us the step up onto the ladder of and we've got a full season of going and supporting the club for free, if you like, and So what I do is just every game I chuck a few quid in a pot, and that'll go towards next year's ticket.
So you had
So
this one free, this season's free, but then you have to renew going forward. But as you say, you're now on the ladder. You know, have one position when, as you say, the gold dust.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously, you were talking about the dark days of the trust. I mean, there were financial issues and the administration, the tax issues, all that sort of the relegations and the non-league football. So, what do you make, obviously, of this fantastic takeover that's just been a massive success? What were your thoughts originally on Ryan Reynolds and Rob coming into the club?
Being honest, didn't have a bloody clue who they were. Obviously, I'd heard of Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. Never really been big into Deadpool films, but obviously I knew his name from that. Rob McElhenney, who the X are, I've got to Google him. So I Googled him. Subsequently, I've watched a couple of episodes of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Not particularly my cup of tea, but yeah, like I say, it's. I mean, when the trust come out and they were talking about a takeover, I was probably a lot of others. I was very sceptical, knowing where we've been with bad owners and things in the past. I was quite sceptical of it, and I was like, well, we need to be careful here because we could end up in a similar position again. And we didn't want that, not one bit. And then it come out of who it was. It was like, well, maybe. And you sort of you do your research then into the two fellas, and you see sort of what Ryan Reynolds especially has accomplished, and you think, well, maybe it's not the worst choice in the world as a club owner. And I think all the supporters welcomed it really positively, and it's been magnificent. It's been absolutely amazing. To think these guys come in, they pumped in whatever it was it 2 million initial investment? Then they've then they've put in how many millions to? I mean, they did the concourse in the tech end. They renewed all that. And that's cost them a fair sum of money. So it's not just the initial investment they've put in; it's further funds, loans, and everything else. And they've not sort of bettered anything. They've just let's do that. Let's. I mean, you see it in the documentary. Right, let's go for it. There's the money. Let's go for the promotion. Let's do this. And it's you couldn't ask for better owners, I don't think.
Yeah, they're fully committed, and they knew what they didn't know. They brought in the right people, and they've been great at selling the club, haven't they? That was their role, not just financial. They could bring it out to a wider audience. But the key thing is, for me, it's worked on the pitch almost immediately. 3 promotions in a row. What do you think of this season? It's looking good now after a rough start. It's starting to look very good, and the playoffs could be on. I think they're on.
I would agree with you there. I mean, up until, if somebody would have said to me at the first game of the season, if somebody said to me, by the 1st of December, you'll be sitting 10th in the league, I'd have said they were absolutely balmy. And here we are, 3 days before the 1st of December, and we're sitting 10th in the league. I think we're holding our own. I really do. I think we're overachieving, if truth be told. My brother asked me beginning of the season, he said, what do you think for this season? I said, you know what? I'll take 2 points above the drop zone. And that'll do me. And, you know, we're coming into December and we're looking at the league table and we're thinking playoffs could be on here. If we get there, fantastic. And I mean, if we did get there and we did do the impossible, you know, with the 4th straight promotion, I think that's fantasy land, to be fair. But
that was the fantasy.
You know,
That is fantasy. That is the dream. And
yeah,
it all started maybe a bit of a joke, but it's becoming real. By every week that goes by, every season, it's becoming more realistic. I'm 5 points from second, I believe. 3 points from 4.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone apart from Coventry who we've beaten who are running away with it. There's no one else in there we should be worried about apart from Coventry. We've beaten them, but they're looking too good. Everyone else we can compete with.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you say, Coventry, we're the only team in the league to beat them. So, you know, I think we're good enough. And I think we belong in this league. And I think we've proved that. But I look at the first episode of Welcome to Wrexham, where Rob and Ryan were both asked, what's the dream? And they sort of half jokingly said the Premier League. And that's, you know, as the weeks go by, that is looking more and more alike in the, you know, if not this season, certainly in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, we could be up there.
I think we all wanted, Andy. We all wanted, just survive. We said that last year and the year before. Just stay in the league, stay up, stay in League Two. And this season especially, we knew it was a different league, much harder, much more competitive. We saw that with the start we had, and we thought, well, hang on, just 15th will do. That's what we're kind of expecting. But these new signings now are starting to click. We're far more consistent than anyone else. This league is so tight. The teams who are consistent, obviously, are going to be up there. You put a run together, of 4 wins out of 5, 3 wins out of 5, and you're going to climb that table.
100%, 100%. I mean, the middle of that table is so tight. Like you say, we're what is it? 3 points off second, 4 points off second, whatever it is.
5
points off second, sorry. And but we're only, what is it? Something like 4 or 6 points off 17th.
So like that, yeah, you can drop straight back down.
You know, a loss and a draw, you could be back down sort of 17th, 18th. 2 wins, you know, depending on results around you as well, obviously. You know, within 2 matches, you could be up there challenging, or you could be down struggling. Not that I think at 17th, I don't think you're struggling. I think you're doing all right.
Especially teams being promoted, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if we wind up sort of 17th, 18th come the end of the season, I think that's a success. And I put that down as a very good season. But like you say, when you 2-3 days before December and you're sitting 10th, you know, you're looking at the league positions and you're going, this could be on here. This could be on for the playoffs. And, you know, I don't start getting excited until the end of January. See where we are at the end of January, and that's where I sort of make my sort of thing of, well, we're pushing for to try and do it through the playoffs, or we're aiming for playoffs, or we're just aiming to settle mid-table. And I always sort of use that. Come the end of January, see where you are. Get the January transfer window out the road, because obviously you could lose a few players in January, bring some more in, and then players need time to, like you say, gel and get to grips with things. And but yeah, things could be very, very different come the 1st of February.
Did you go last night, Andy, against Bristol City?
I was there, yes. Yeah.
Good. Big win. Big win.
Massive win. Yeah. And to keep a clean sheet against teams like Bristol City is phenomenal. They missed a few good chances. And I thought they should have at least had one back. Okay, it would have been a bit of a kick if they had got one back, but I thought Arthur did very well. I thought he was terrific between the sticks. That strike from Broadhead, that was bloody quality, absolutely quality.
That's what we paid for,
yeah, and I mean, we're paying all this money for these players, and they're proving their worth.
It does take time, though, doesn't it? I think people have been a bit too eager to see it straight away, and there's been a lot of pressure to perform immediately. They're quality players. It will take time.
Yeah, I think the trouble is, especially with Wrexham supporters of today, a lot of ones that either being negative towards the team and around results and things like this. These are the newer supporters who have only been following the club since the takeover, and so they're only used to watching us win. They're not used to watching us lose, whereas we've been there since the dark days of non-league, and we've seen us playing against, I don't know, Grimsby Town, back when they were in the non-league with us. Dorking Wanderers, playing teams like that, and just about scraping a point in some parts. And I mean, 15 years. If somebody had said to me when we got relegated, "Oh, we're going to sit down here for 15 years," I just said, "Oh, go away." I said, "No chance." Well, and I'm sure a lot of other people said the same. "Oh, we'll have a year down here in the non-league. We'll shoot straight back up." And as we're all aware, that wasn't the case. And it was sometimes it was gut wrenching. There's been games I've been to, and I thought we were absolutely rubbish. There's games I've been to where I thought we looked really good and we deserved the win, and we never got it.
There was a few times, wasn't there, in the 15 years when we thought we were going to get promoted. It was maybe the structure of the league was obviously a problem in many ways. How many get promoted automatically? But there was a couple of seasons where we almost did it. But that season before the takeover was probably the worst in Wrexham's history. When the COVID hit the club, hit the world, sorry. COVID hits, so the season postponed, but Wrexham were close to the relegation battle there. They were in a relegation battle. What would you remember about that? What was the feeling inside the club at that time?
Despair. Absolute despair, because I mean, there was obviously talk of a takeover. We didn't know who at the time. There was just somebody's interested in buying the club. And so, like you said, COVID came along, and that saved us relegation. Once they cancelled the season, and that was that. Obviously there was no promotion, no relegation that season. I think if it wasn't for COVID, we'd have gone down, and I truly believe that. So thanks COVID, you saved us.
And it could have been a very different story then.
It could have been. I mean, people have said to me, if we had been relegated, would the takeover have happened? I think it would, to be fair. They'd shown interest. And they wanted a good story to tell in the documentary, and I think if we had gone down to the National League North, and I think that would have been just as good a story to tell. That we spent 15 years in the non-league Premier, just been relegated, and now it's the fight to get back up and climb the pyramid. Would we be in the position we are today? Probably not. But I'm just so glad that COVID came along, and cancelled the season, because without it, like I say, I truly believe we'd have gone down and things would be very, very different.
But I think in terms of the takeover, the fundamentals of the club would still have been there, wouldn't they? The history, the fan base, the catchment area, location of the club, the only club really in North Wales at this level. So it was still an attractive, investment, an attractive opportunity. They might go a bit cheaper, I suppose, as well. But all the fundamentals that made the club so interesting and so exciting remained. The fans would go away, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
The core fan base will always be there.
Yeah, 100%.
And the potential to grow as well was always there. Why do you think so many owners got it wrong? Do you think when they mismanaged the club and they just got it wrong?
Greed. A lot of it, I believe, was greed. They wanted to. It was a business opportunity. It wasn't. They bought the club, and they run it for what they could get out of it. I don't pretend to understand the full sort of magnitude of what the likes of Hamilton did behind the scenes, nor with Moss and Roberts. But I understood that they wanted to sell the racecourse to build a DIY store, something like that.
That was that's the talk. Yeah, that's we believe. Yeah, Hamilton and Gotham.
Yeah. So just greed. I don't think any of them they weren't one bit interested in the history and everything else about the club. They just wanted their hands on the land. It was prime building land, and they could have sold it for millions. Luckily enough, we managed to stop it, which was brilliant, because, like you say, it's the oldest international football stadium in the world, and for that to be took away from anybody, whoever was would be playing there, it was, it would have been a crying shame.
Yeah, and I think that's what's interesting with Ryan and Rob and their motivations. I truly believe the documentary was a key part of it. It was an entertainment project for them, part of their work. But obviously, they knew what they could do with it. They knew what they were dealing with here. It had to be done properly with the right intentions. They weren't looking. They're not. Ryan's a good businessman, but he's not looking to make money from this straight away. It was a bit of an entertainment project, see where they can take it. But obviously, you've got to be successful. You need a story to tell. Otherwise, be unsuccessful. That's another story. But being successful and being created what they've created was always going to be the best outcome for a documentary.
Yeah. I mean, I said this a couple of times to different people. They bought the club. They're now the owners. I believe their part in the story is to build the profile of the club, and give us a worldwide following, and they've done that. People have said to me, "Oh, the owners have been quiet this year, and we haven't seen or heard much of them." And I said the other night to somebody, I said, they've done what they needed to do. They've built the profile up, and now they can sit back and let the club run. They've put the right people. Yeah. They brought people in with a hell of a lot of experience in the industry. And it's like if you employ a manager, why are you going to be there behind him, sort of making sure he's doing his job? And I think that's what they've done, and they've done it really well. They've brought these people in to the club, and they've just gone, right, we've done our bit, we've raised the profile, we've done all the advertising, we've done this, that, and the other. Now you go and run the football club, and we want it to be as big and as successful as it can be. And it's working. It's working for them.
Yeah, and that's to their credit. It wasn't just a bit harsh, I think I was saying. The documentary was the starting point, but they knew early on what they were taking on. They begin to understand quickly the type of football club, the type of community, the history, and they did it properly. The people they brought in from, Harvey's and even Fleur Robinson, not very popular, I understand, within the club, but experienced. They brought in right people from the beginning that knew how to run football clubs. They were taking it very seriously. Obviously, they put their money in, but they employed good people, experienced people, wherever their personalities worked. But they were experienced people within the football world. They employed from the beginning. Your Peter Moores.
Yeah, 100%. And like I say, what I liked about it in the very beginning was, you look at their mission statement. It was so obvious they had looked into every aspect of the club, the fan base, the community. I mean, how many times in their mission statement did they say always beat Chester? I've been to job interviews in the past, and they say, "What do you know about the business?" Very little. You try to do a little bit of research, so if you're going into a retail environment, for talk's sake, a little bit about that environment. But they have done their research so well and so thoroughly. They know we've got a massive rivalry with Chester. And that was brought into the mission statement. And you're sort of reading through the points in that mission statement, and you're thinking, well, considering these are two guys who probably never heard of the town of Wrexham before, never mind the football club, wouldn't know where it is on a map. You know, and they've come in to sell themselves to the club, and they've gone, right, well, we know this, we know that, we know the other, we're always going to beat Chester. I
It was perfect, wasn't it? Perfect.
I remember sitting and reading articles and all this, and I was like, well, fair play, these guys they've done their own work and they've done it really well. And they must have spent a really, really long time studying the club and researching every aspect of the club, in my opinion, from top to the bottom, from left to right.
And they probably had people around them, some input, but that goes to show goes to show who they've surrounded themselves with, the right people, the right advisors.
Yeah,
what do you
100%.
make about Parkinson? What are your thoughts on Parkinson? For me, a legend. I think most people a legend. He got a lot of stick at the start of this season. There's always question marks about his ability, certainly his style of play. He's proven himself again, isn't he?
He is, yeah, 100%. Sometimes I think tactically, I don't agree with him. I think his inability to change formation, I don't like. But I find it hard to stand up and slag him off. I think he's the best manager we've had since I've been there. He's certainly been the most successful. I mean, you get on social media, you know, if we've lost 2 games on the banks, oh, get him out and all this. Well, unfortunately, he's got all of this season and probably next season. You know, even if we are sort of come the end of this season, if we're struggling down the bottom of the table, I think you've got to give him until Christmas next year, just for what he's done.
Of course, yeah, he bought himself.
His achievements, I believe, has earned him that right, and he's got to have the opportunity to improve things. But I don't think we're going to be worried about having to improve things come the end of the season, because I think we're doing really well.
Of course, yeah.
You know, like I said earlier, if somebody would have said to me at the beginning of the season, coming into December, you'll be sitting 10th place in the championship, I'd have gone, you're off your head. You know, I just said, no chance. But like we say, it's, like you said, it's tight, you know, and it could go either way within a game or two. You know, you could be up there knocking on the door of second place, or you could be down 15th, 17th, somewhere like that. I mean, look at that last night. When I looked at the league table before last night's game, we were 15th. You know, put 3 points on the table, we're 9th. So we've jumped up 6 positions. So, but yeah, like I say, with Parky, sometimes I think his tactics are a bit shaky. I don't like all this long ball. Again, it depends who's up front. I mean, if you've got Sam Smith up front, he's not a target man.
Yeah, doesn't work.
And it just doesn't work. You know, if you've got Big Kiefer up front, then yeah, okay, lump it up and hope it gets to him. I think Keeper needs some practice turning things over though, because he's he gets to the ball and he brings it down, but I think once the ball's at his feet, it's a bit like Bambi on ice, and sometimes he struggles. I mean, last night against Bristol, he should have had 2 goals himself. Just unfortunate that he didn't net them, but so yeah, I like I say with Parky, I think he's done that well. I think he'll go down as a club legend, with the likes of Mickey T and Joey Jones. I think in sort of 40, 50 years' time, we'll still be talking about Phil Parkinson.
Oh, certainly. Do you ever meet him? Yeah, you have opportunities to meet him. You see him around. Do you interact with him?
I've not met him, but I have sort of passed him around the stadium and said hello to the guy, and he's always, hello, how are you doing? You okay? Because obviously when I was doing the music, we'd come out and we'd go out through the media room where they're doing the interviews. A couple of times I've passed him in the waiting area sort of thing there, waiting to go in and speak to the media team. And I just always walk past, oh, good game, Phil, well done, and he's always, oh, thanks very much, lads. And but that's as far as interacting with the management. That's about it for me. I've never been one to put myself out there, sort of thing, and try to interact with people too much. I just sort of sat at the back and tried to sort of blend into the background. I mean, I never made a big deal of being at the club. I never. I know people who would, because we've been mobile DJs for years. I've never advertised the fact that I did the music at the ground. It's just not something that I ever wanted to promote. And when you go on the likes of Ed Patton,
But you volunteer.
it was voluntary. Yeah. It was always voluntary.
Yeah.
So I never sort of put myself in the parapet, if you like. I've always sort of just kept my head down, gone, done what I need to do, and go away. And that's that. I wasn't looking for praise or neither. I mean, you go on to the likes of Ed Passion, and we get some blinders on there. What the hell's with the music selection? It's absolutely rubbish. It's this, it's that. I never sort of put myself out there to say, well, this is me. And, I just sort of got on with it. And I always found it quite funny, to be fair, when I go on social media and they were giving us pelters. I thrived off that. I was like, well, let's see who I can upset this weekend. And,
So Andy, how did you decide the playlists? What was your thinking? Did it change over time? Did you understand more and see, evolve? How did you create the playlists for the games?
In the early days, obviously we had a lot of the older generation, shall we say, in attendance. So I used to stick to a lot of 60s to 80s. And that always seemed to go down well. As the times went on and I sort of got to sort of see different parts of the place and different bits of the crowds, I then change things up and I play a mixture of modern day as well. But yeah, there was nobody ever come to us and said, you must play this, you must play that, whatever. I mean, it was always, We Come Out to Wrexham is the name that was the given. Then it was Steve Jones that brought in Imaro Heed. I used to play Dragons on Fire years ago. we will stop playing that. I believe by the chap who wrote it. But I don't know. But we just got a message. Can we no longer play Dragons on Fire? Yeah, okay, not a problem. So that was never played, and that's never been played at the Racecourse since, which I think is a shame because it was written about the club.
Going back to, I remember when I think the Notts County game, and after Foster's penalty save, we played Rocking All Over the World, or you played Rocking All Over the World. Did you have to be ready for things like that to just react to what happened in the match?
We did, yeah. I mean, the good thing with us, we were digital, and we also had twin CD players in the booth. So we had for the Notts County game. After half time, we actually loaded Rocking All Over the World into one CD player. Into the other CD player was, I think, Always Sunny in Wrexham. And then on the laptop, then we had just two random tracks in case it went pear-shaped. But then obviously the inevitable happened. Foster made that blinding save to win us the game, and we decided to press go on Rocking All Over the World. The reason behind Rocking All Over the World for us was that's what they played in 2005 at the Millennium when we beat Southend in the LDV. So that sort of, I just sort of wanted to keep Rocking All Over the World alive and try and make it a bit of a club anthem, which, but when they all started singing along with it, Super Ben Foster in goal, I mean, we were placed behind double glazed glass. You couldn't hear the sounds outside, but that afternoon we heard everything. It come through them windows loud and proud. It was, I mean, the hairs on the back of your neck was stood up. That atmosphere after that game was something else. But yeah, with regards to playlists, we just played whatever we thought. Coming towards sort of last season, we did have a bit of a. I had one of the training conditioning coaches actually come up and spent a bit of time in the box with us to do the players' warm-ups. So whilst the players were out on the pitch warming up before the game, we had a list of about 12 or 13 songs that the players had chose. And so that was, soon as they come out onto the field to warm up, we'd go up whatever we were playing, and we'd just stick their playlist on, and that had run then, and that was brought in to try and get the lads pumped up, and sometimes I believe it worked. Sometimes I think, well, we might as well have played the bloody YMCA for what effect it had, because we were crap. But but yeah, I mean, musically, it was just general. What I would call easy listening. And then you've got your 15 minutes sort of before kick-off, bit of a build-up where you play a bit more dancey. We always played your sort of Wrexham-based stuff then. Interestingly enough, when the Declan Swans first released Always Sunny in Wrexham, we actually purchased that and took it into the stadium, and we played it. And we were told then by the head of media not to play it. And then they started then doing, this was quite a bit of time after, we were told on no uncertain terms were we to play Always Sunny in Wrexham because of its references to drugs and violence and things like this, which feasible, okay. And then they started doing the local music early doors, and they give us on a USB. Can you play them early on? Yeah, no problem. And we got the dongle this day and plugged it into the laptop. Always Sunny's on this, so it was on the radio. Are we allowed to play this? We've been told we're not to play it, and if it's on the dongle, play it. Okay. And then it started to get used in the 15-minute build up then. So yeah,
Always well, doesn't it? What a great song. It's really calm and fantastic. Sums up everything that's happened.
Yeah. Well, the first time I heard it on social media, immediately I went to I think I bought it on iTunes. Immediately I went to that, paid me £1.75 or whatever it was, downloaded it, and I thought that's getting played at the ground. And then to be told we weren't to play it was a bit gutting. But you know, we've got rules to follow, and we understand that, and yeah, so and that's how that came about, to get played in the ground. I stumbled across it on socials, and I thought, do you know what? I like that. That's really good, and I always believed it would be turned into a chant at the ground, which it was.
I'm sure you got lots of requests from local bands, yeah? Because it'll be a big deal for a young band up and coming to get their music at the Racecourse. Do you get many requests?
Not so much personally, because obviously not a lot of people knew it was us that did it. But there was a guy. I don't believe they're doing it anymore, but I don't get into the ground early enough to hear it. But there was a guy. I think he's a bit of a local producer, and he does a lot with these young upcoming groups and bands. And it was he used to send it was about 4 or 5 tracks per game, and he'd send them into the club, and they'd pass them over to us to. I mean, they were always played very, very early on. I mean, the turnstiles open an hour and a half before kickoff, and they were the first 5 songs to come through the speakers. So, not a lot of people heard them, to be fair.
But it's not. It's something, isn't it? It gets things going, moving.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, for anybody who's from Wrexham and in a band, you know, when their music gets played in the racecourse ground, that's gotta be a massive thing, and you know, something to be really excited about. I know I would be. Some of my songs have actually been played. I was in a band many years ago.
I was going to ask. Yeah. So you say you're a DJ as well, yeah? Are you used to DJ?
Yeah.
Do you still do that
now? I sort of slowed right down when COVID came along. I'm just starting to take a few bookings here and there now, but I've got another business to look after as well. So my main sort of my gardening business, that's my main bit at the minute. But I do still do a little bit of DJing. But I don't do an awful lot of it anymore. So
whatever events, birthdays, weddings, anything, stuff like
yeah,
that.
anything goes. I mean, we've hosted karaoke nights in different pubs and bars and things like that. But yeah, mainly is birthdays, weddings, christenings, anniversaries. Did karaoke at a funeral once. That was interesting.
I bet it was, yes. But I'm sure it was requested, wasn't it? I'm sure it was what they wanted, yeah?
Yeah. A guy who loved karaoke, and his family wanted to give him a good send off. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, never in my life thought I'd be hosting a karaoke event at a funeral. And quite surprisingly, nobody sang "Living in a Box." So
I'm going to have "Wake Me Up Before You Go," I think.
well, I've always said I'm going to be cremated, and I'm having Disco Inferno.
So,
So
Ring of Fire, yeah.
yeah. All the so
Yeah, you were telling me earlier that when you got the job or when you asked to get involved, you were a football fan. That's come over time, and music was your passion, your interest, and the football, the interest, the knowledge of football evolved. What were your favourite times doing this job over 15 years?
oh crumbs, my favourite times. Like I say, when I started 2010-ish, like I say, I wasn't a football fan. I knew nothing about football, and I didn't pretend to. And after a few games, and like back then, we used to play goal music. There was a number of times where the ball hit the back of the net, and I pressed play on the goal music, and then they're coming into the box saying that it was offside. I'm like, what do you mean it was offside? Well, what's the lino? If he's got his flag in the air, they're offside. It's not allowed. It's not a goal. Oh, right, okay. So I had to learn the game. It probably took me a few years to fully get to grips and understand different things, but yeah, I like I say, I knew nothing about football, and I didn't pretend to, but I had to learn the game. And in doing that, grew my passion for Wrexham Football Club. At the time when I started, I didn't consider myself a Wrexham supporter. Now I consider myself an avid Wrexham supporter. And it was just it was all just because my mate needed hand. And like you say, 15 years later, I was still there. And now I've gone from not knowing or understanding anything about football to I'll sit and watch it for the game on the telly. I'll sit and watch it. Doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's not Chester.
A few
But
others,
yeah,
and a few others.
So yeah, I'll go and watch the ladies now and again. I take my little one, not very often, but now and again. We go to the Rock and we watch the girls play. I don't find ladies
Very
football.
successful. They're doing fantastic, aren't they, the ladies team?
They are doing really well. Another side of the club that's been very impressive. I don't find women's football half as entertaining as men's football. I find it a lot slower paced and not tactically as good. But
well, it's been around, isn't it? I remember growing up, I think you had like two teams, like Arsenal and Doncaster Bells, was it? I remember in the 90s. That's all I ever saw was Arsenal ladies and Doncaster Bells. But now it's becoming huge. It's really, really becoming a massive, massive sport and equal in its own right.
Yeah. yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like I say, I think the ladies they've been fantastic, and now the club formally owns the Rock, and that now becomes the ladies' official home. I think is brilliant.
Well, slowly they're building it. They're building the assets. They're building the infrastructure. We need a few things, the training ground and stuff like that. The academy needs working on. Obviously, the COP is taking far too long. We're almost going to get it now, I think. It's almost ready to start going up. But that's what they've started doing. That's what they've done. They've started to increase the infrastructure, put the foundations in place, and it's becoming a solid business, if you like, a solid company.
Yeah, 100%. I think with regards, like you say, the COP's taking far too long. That should have been up. But now they're actually breaking ground. I think once my understanding of it is once the steel starts going up, it won't take long.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how true this is, whatever. 8 months. Once the steel starts going up, 8 months.
Yeah.
For the main structure to be on.
Yeah.
Which I don't is not a lot of time really when you think of the engineering that goes into these things. It's it's no mean feat, is it, to get a stand up?
I think the foundations have been the problem. Obviously, lots of planning issues. The foundations, clearing that, getting that ready. I believe it's done off site now. They bring it in and just whip it up.
Yeah,
not an expert on this stuff, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I say, I think I don't think it'll be ready for the beginning of next season, but I think certainly a couple of months into next season, I think we'll see that stand open then, and fans getting in there, and hopefully get the capacity right up again, and make some more money.
Yeah, because we need them. It lay desolate in there for so long, that COP. It was so sad to see, and it's nice to get four sides again, but yeah, to see a new stand up there will be fantastic. So exciting, and as I said, that COP lane, rotting away for so many years.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I can remember being a teenager, going with my brother. Like I said, I was never interested in football, but my brother would say, "Oh, just come to the game with me. I don't want to go on my own," so I'd go along, and I'd spend 90 minutes with me back to the pitch, just looking up at Jacko and all the lads at the back of the COP, making all the noise, and so some of my best memories of Wrexham Football Club are in the COP.
Yeah.
So to see it sitting there dilapidated and in the state it was sad. It was really sad. I was gutted when they knocked it down. But we're gonna get a nice shiny new one, and
move on, don't you? Sometimes you have to, but it needed obviously rebuilding. It needed completely rebuilding. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They were. I don't think they'd have ever got a safety certificate for it.
No.
So it had to be done. It had to be done. But yeah, I don't. I think once this COP's up, I don't think it'll stay at four-sided ground for long, because I think the lager stand will come down quite soon later. Quite soon after the COP's up.
The word, yes.
Like I say, I've got no influence from inside the club. I don't. I don't know of anybody who would tell me any sort of inside information. It's just what I think and what I believe. But I believe the lager stand will be the next one down. And I think when they take the lager stand down, that's when you'll start seeing the corners filled in. Certainly the top end. Whether they do it in concession, so the cop, the lager, the tech, then the mould, or they do the lager stand and then the mould road stand, and leave the tech end as it is for the time being, but I believe the tech end will once again hold away supporters.
It's going to have to if we stay at this level, because the demand is there, and they're easily selling their allocation of, what's it, 1,500, 1,600, something like that.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think at the level we're at, I get quite embarrassed by when clubs come to us. It's like, oh, how many tickets are Wrexham giving us? You'll get 12,600, 1,600 or whatever it is. 1,200 and something. But then we go to Stoke and they've given us 3,500 or whatever it was. And it's like, could we complain if some of these clubs said, well, we're only giving you 1,500? I don't think we could, because that's what we give them. But a lot of true football fans understand that you've only got the space you've got, and you can only give what you can give. I mean, I work for a guy who's a big Stoke City supporter, and he asked about the ticket allocation for Wrexham, and so I told him what it was, and he said, "Good God," he said, "that's low." And I said, "Yeah, but we've only got a capacity of just over 10,000, so when you weigh it up, you're getting your 10%, the 10 or 12%, whatever it is." So, and he was like, "Well, yeah, that's fair enough." He said, "If you haven't got the room, then you haven't got the room." I mean, like last season when we had the temporary stand up, I think that helped a hell of a lot. Could we have kept the temporary stand and for the first 5 or 6 games of this season? I think probably we could have. But if there's a structure on the land, they can't get on to work it. So, I don't understand the groundworks of building a stand. So, but I mean, for me, there didn't appear to be an awful lot happening on that site for the first 5 or 6 games. So I was like, well, what the hell are they doing? Are they building it? Are they not? Then they put in the planning application to make it 7,500 instead of 5,500. So I was like, so then that's put it back again. And I was like, well, what are we playing at? Can we just put a digger in there and let's see some sort of movement? But it just didn't seem to be nothing. And then all of a sudden, the machinery's in, and it's there and getting done. So the sooner they get a bit of steel poking out the ground, I think I'll start to feel a bit more relaxed on the subject and think, well, it's happening now. It's coming out to the ground. So happy days for me.
Well, I think this time next year it'll be up, and it'll be just a new landmark, won't it? The racecourse is iconic as it is, but with that new stand, it's fun. I mean, the way it looks, what the effort they've put in, the references to local Welsh history and Welsh symbols and coal mining and the Raben brick, I believe. So they make an effort. They're going to create something special. I think that's going to attract even more people to the area to just see it and experience it.
Yeah. The fact they're going to use the Raben Reds is, I didn't even know you could still buy them.
I don't know if they can buy them. It's a reference. They're using the colour anyway. As a reference.
It'll be probably a replica, like you say. But you know, to have the Raben Red used on the stand is, I think it's quite fitting, and it pays good tribute to the history of the town. I refuse to call it a city because it'll never be a city, in my opinion.
My thoughts exactly. That's my feeling as well. Yeah.
It's always been a town, and you know, it was a mining town, and it will always remain a mining town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, looking at the pictures they've put out and all that of the new stand, I can't wait for it to be there now. I think it's going to be a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's just what we need, and it'll be up. We're almost there, I think, as we discussed. It'll go up very quickly. Andy, thank you so much for this. Before you go, predictions for the season, playoffs, or certainly safe, but where do you think we're going to end up?
I might regret this, but I'm going to go 6th.
Yeah.
I think after Christmas we'll have a good push, and will push us up into the playoffs.
We're looking good because we're looking difficult to beat. I think scored some goals and we can really, really get up there. You know, a couple of goals last night's what we need. We're defending well, just not scoring enough overall, but we're difficult to beat, and we've really climbed that table. I think we can have a damn good go. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we can. Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
No problem at all.
We could have talked about. You seem, really relaxed with what you've achieved at Wrexham, what you've done. You don't seem angry about being let go. You just seem to be grateful for what you've achieved and what you've seen and what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been
enjoying the journey.
It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time at the club, and I am just truly grateful now to have the opportunity to continue to support the club and have a seat in the stadium, because I think it's going to be a fair few years before you're able to. I think this ballot's going to go on for a few years now.
Yeah, which stand which stand?
Say again.
Which stand are you in?
We're in the tech end.
Okay, well.
Yeah, so in the quieter side.
Okay.
The first block away from the Mould Road, and we're up in there. So brilliant view of the pitch. We're able to follow the game really well, so it's just brilliant. So long may it continue.
I'm sure it will, Andy. I'm sure it will. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you for this once again.
No problem, Carl.
Come back one day, we'll do it again. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carl.